G'day YouTube. Warbles on a lot here. Those of you who pay attention to the channel, who watched yesterday's video, will know that I sort of thought I'd figured out what was going on with those three Chinesium hoses. And after I finished the video, I rolled up the two, quote, good hoses that didn't have pinhole leaks in them. And then I decided I'd cut the end off that was leaking on the third one and just shift its hose tail back along. And when I was doing that, I expected to find a particular occupational health and safety variety of a hose clamp underneath the what looked like electrician's tape. Best way to explain it is to show you the not occupational health and safety hose clamps, which I use. They have various names: hose clamps, Jubilee clips, yada yada yada. Not considered occupational health and safety related acceptable because you can catch this on your clothes. You can maybe cut yourself with it. It might do someone or something some kind of a damage. So the canvas hoses on fire trucks have a sort of a low profile, one-way, single-use, compression operated, tool closed stainless steel ratchet hose clamp. And I was expecting to find something like that underneath the tape on the Chinesium hoses. Because when I cut off the 5 metre length, it never occurred to me that what I would find under there was two double twizzles of galvanised steel tie wire, and I think therein at we may have discovered the source of the leakage. On all 6 hose tails, fire hose 03 metre 1 Hickney from vidaxl.com. And at sundown yesterday afternoon, when I discovered this miraculous bit of production engineering, I hadn't gone and checked my stash, and I didn't realise that I actually had a spare one of these in the right size. So when shortening the hose, I employed the same Chinesium design engineering standards, where I did go to new galvanised wire, and I upgraded to fencing pliers and 40mm tape. And because I discovered a brand new 20 to 32mm hose clamp in my stash, clearly the obvious thing to do is to run the experiment, adhesive affected by water, and see whether in fact the problem is the Chinese economy variety of hose clamp, which will be compared for performance with the Warbles variety. We know the Chinese tie wire leaks, we think it leaks. Pretty sure the hose clamp will be able to squeeze that hose tight enough so it can't leak. And we'll check that out against my version of implementing the Chinese design. Not only, but also pretty sure I can see channels through which water has been able to pass in that fixation. But also, we'll see the difference between your Chinese Storts compatible fitting and an actual Storts hose tail. And the bigly difference here is the spring wire circlip, which permits the collar to rotate on the hose when it's not connected to anything, locks it up into one torsionally solid unit when it's connected because of the compression of the rubber grommets against the cam or the lugs on the inside of the retainer cam track. And having that spring in there, or spring clip, stops it from spontaneously disassembling in the way that the Chinesium one did. So what's actually providing your water seal is that inner flat face up against the slightly oversized flat lip. There's supposed to be a circlip in the groove, but that's missing. Therefore, it comes apart unless it's got a hose connected to it. And the pressure of the water is supposed to squeeze that water tight. And ideally, a hose clip will fix it. Although, when I put them side by side, I'm beginning to have my doubts. Perhaps Warble's version of the tie wire will prove to be superior after all. Hose clamp works pretty well on that, but to be honest, I think I'm going to remove that second ring. So we'll see how we go. Be easier if I had a lathe, but if wishes were horses, then beggars would ride. So, I'll just keep going with that until I'm just about all the way around. And while doing this, it's occurred to me that the fact that I have to take off an otherwise useless secondary ring suggests that this fitting was actually in fact designed to use a simple wire tie, two of them. The bloke who made the casting before it was finished, probably in an automatic lathe, but whoever dreamed this idea up, they knew they were going to use wire ties, because if you've got a ridge there, you can't use a hose tie, a hose clamp. So not only did they do it the cheap way, but they made a mess of doing it the cheap way. I have a sneaking suspicion that the tie wires that I put on will in fact work pretty well. And I think this will work well too. I reckon that should work pretty well. And I haven't interfered at all with the water seal, which is this flat surface around here. All I've done is given the hose clamp an actual chance to function, because this hose tail was designed to have tie wire used on it. What do the Frenchmen say? Et voila. Whereas here in Oz it probably works better that way. And before I put this to bed, note the furry edge on this, and you note the smooth melted edge on that one. That's because this is indeed nylon canvas with, I think it's a nylon liner. Okay. And I reckon I can get a hose clamp tighter than I can get tie wire. So we'll see which actually works under pressure. I'm betting they both will. And if they both work, then rather than spend $2.84 on another 5 hose clamps and spend 15 minutes filing them back to the correct profile, I'll probably tie wire the other 5. But first up, let's see what happens under pressure. But first, I'll fix that occupational health and safety issue with my fencing pliers. Just bend it down and out of the way a bit more and give it a wrap with the 40mm silver plumber's tape. Did I miss a step there? Before applying the plumber's tape, you really kind of have to bend that tang down and then wrap it up in tape. I hate to say it, but the tie wire looks a lot neater than the hose clamp. It's cheaper than the hose clamp, and the reason I hate to say it is because I'm going to have to use 6 hose clamps on the 6 hose tails that are going on the percolating cotton canvas hoses, because they've already got, well, I've already got the proper Stewart's fittings. And you really can't use 2 pieces of bent wire on them. But as probably nobody ever said, the proof of a fire hose is, will it hold water under pressure? With the $2.85 hose clamp on the Warble's modified Chinesium hose tail attached to the pump where I really don't want it to leak, with the Warble's fencing pliers tie wired original Chinesium design on the nozzle, and the nozzle is closed off. So we'll see whether it holds first air pressure and then water pressure. This angle should show any drips here. Give it a minute to warm up. Now we'll see what happens. There's a little bit of a leak, and there's quite a lot of a leak. So I guess we're going to have to go for the hose ties. Almost acceptable.